Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors regular meeting of August 14th. It's been a long day today, so Mark, let's start with roll call.
Supervisor Reynolds?
Here.
Supervisor Garlic Orangetti? Here. Supervisor Brownell?
Here.
Supervisor Davidson?
Here.
Supervisor Prouty? Supervisor Kaiser? Supervisor Lazaro?
Present.
Supervisor Cronewetter?
Here.
Supervisor Lott?
Here.
Supervisor McGreevy?
Here.
Supervisor Heisen?
Here.
Supervisor Trout?
Here.
Supervisor Shipley?
Here.
Supervisor Hockadow? Here. You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. First order of business tonight, I'm going to call on the undersheriff and the county highway superintendent to give us, to come on up to the podium and give us a little dissertation of everything that went on in southern Seneca County today. It's been a tough day. Guys, thanks for all your work.
Oh, very welcome, very welcome. I guess I'll start it off, I'll be brief. As most of you, I'm sure all of you know, that we had a flash flood in the town of Lodi Point, Lower Lake Road area. We're still dealing with it. Our county officials and state units are still down there, and they were deployed today to deal with this. First thing I want to tell you, I'm happy to report that we rescued 62 people by patrol boat, and other than bumps and bruises, there's no fatalities. All missing people have been located, and except for minor bumps and bruises, are fine. We were unable to get any aircraft because of the weather. We were able, though, to deploy a drone, and we have video footage of the entire area. One was to use that for locating people, which it was very useful for that, but also to document damage and document the incident for the future when we may be looking at trying to get some help from the state for damages. Tonight, there'll be a perimeter maintained by patrol units. There's a curfew, no persons allowed from 7:30 tonight until sunrise. There's also a travel advisory on the lake because there's debris everywhere. We're going to reconvene the field command post down in Ovid tomorrow morning. There'll be a minimal staff tonight. The rescue portion, which was the focus today, was making sure that we found anybody that was missing, rescue the people that were trapped, and get them to a safe shelter. The Ovid Federated Church generously offered their facilities as a shelter. The number of people that went up and down, at one point it was up around 23. The Red Cross manned that with, they had nurses there to be able to get people medications, went very smooth.
John, how many people did you rescue from the point area?
62. 62, and they were pulled out via patrol boat. So the life-saving, the rescue part of it is pretty much over, barring some unforeseen circumstance. Now we want to maintain it, keep it secure, and probably the hardest part, which is going to be the cleanup and recovery phase, which I'm going to have Roy talk to you about the road conditions, which is a major concern.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Anybody? Thank you, Mr. Undersheriff.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Roy, what kind of shape are our roads and bridges in?
We have two county roads closed, County Road 129 and 131. Most of our roads are washed, the shoulders are gone, driveways. Lodi got hit the hardest, they lost their bridge, but they're getting a new one next year, Upper Lake.
We might get before next year.
Sheldrake got hit pretty hard down there at the point. He said, the one lady told me she had 4 foot of water going through her house. So, that's about it. I got 4 of the towns hauling a stone tomorrow, north end highway departments. So, I think we're gonna be pretty set. Good. Okay, any
Very
questions?
good. Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes, we did.
Supervisor Davidson.
There. I'd like to thank the supervisors, one from Fayette, the one from Ron, Iron, and for offering to come out and help us, because there's no way our little highway department's gonna be able to clean up all this mess. I mean, there's 20-foot pieces of tile, what you call underneath the driveways.
Culverts.
Stuff like that. They're just everywhere. They're not in the ground where they're supposed to be. They're everywhere you think of. I mean, they're still all spread all around and everything else, so.
I'm gonna say Waterloo called, Junius called, Seneca, they all called, the highway superintendents have called me all day and told me whatever we need, they will send out trucks to haul stone, so.
There's private individuals down there running, there's 2 or 3 excavators.
Yes, and dozers. We've been taking them fuel all day. The highway
They were
department.
bad out on the road, so I called the local oil supplier in Lodi.
Okay.
They were closed today.
Oh, okay.
They're open now though.
Okay. Like I said, we get the fuel lady down there all day, the fuel truck, giving them diesel and gas.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lee, I understand also the National Guard is in your town too,
Yes, sir, they are.
running some small Bobcats or whatever.
They've got some funny looking trucks too. I don't know if they say something about fire service on the truck. But there's a bunch up there. Must have been 8 or 10 of them. Yeah.
Good.
And the governor was there too. You got to ride our loader, go into the campsite down there. You couldn't get through by except for the water station book. And then that was his Photoshop his leg.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, moving on, as far as petitioners, next I'm going to call on Anne Marie Heinzman from the Farm Bureau. Anne Marie? And who do you have with you tonight?
I said, good evening. Thank you for having us. I have Melissa Nesbitt with me, who's the Executive Director of Seneca Housing. You might not know this, but I work as a consultant with them, and she would like to speak with you about their fundraiser that's coming up.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? As Anne Marie said, my name is Melissa Nesbitt. I'm the Executive Director at Seneca Housing. We administer the Section 8 program on behalf of the entire county of Seneca. We work with low-income individuals, distressed individuals, elderly, disabled, and households with dependents. We put just under $2 million into the economy in Seneca County last year in the hands of landlords, property owners in this county, and we're poised to inject more than $2 million this year. A couple years ago, Jack O'Connor, who I'm sure you all know, came to me and talked about the lack of safety and affordable housing for veterans in our area. So after a lot of different meetings, a lot of different talking, we decided to do something about it. Our building is over on 11 Auburn Road in Seneca Falls. It's the old LT's. Used to be Cindy's Custom Curtains. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. But at one time it was even a meat market many years ago. And it's humongous. And there's 4,000 square feet at least unused space in the rear of our building. And at one time there was a 3-bedroom rental unit upstairs. And then there's more space downstairs. So we decided we were going to privately fundraise the money to build safe, decent, and affordable housing for veterans. We chose not to go for grants because I don't know how familiar you are with applying for grants, but we're a very small agency. It's very time consuming. Reporting is incredibly difficult, and they're very restrictive. So if somebody makes $1 more than they should, they're not eligible, and we didn't want that to happen. So we started a fundraiser called Masquerade. We did it last year. It was our first one. We raised over $10,000. That's what we netted in the end, and that sits in reserve right now, and we matched that amount, and we just upgraded our entire sewer system for the building. with our own money. And we're going to have another one this year. We're going to continue to fundraise until we have enough to rehab these units. We've started phase 2. We did hire Jason McCormick and Craig Partee to take a look at the building, and we're hoping to get moving on the first 3-bedroom unit. It's upstairs. It's beautiful. It's got a huge kitchen, open space. There's lots of parking. It's a good location. It's on the bus route, and we think it would be a good start. So I'm asking you to join us. We've put invitations on each of your desks. It'll be a great time. It's over at Miranda Cheese Company. We have some really wonderful large sponsors this year. Community Bank is a sponsor, Seneca Meadows, Wegmans, Miranda Cheese Company, and Cobblestone Coffee Roasters have decided to join us as bronze sponsors. We have, I've lost track. Rick Coe is going to be the master of ceremonies. We have night training there for 3 hours, open bar from 6 to 8, and food by Lake Country Catering. So I hope to see you all there. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have open privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here tonight that would like to address the Board of Supervisors? Kyle, you have anything for us tonight?
Sure.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the rest of the board members. Haven't been able to attend the last few meetings, so wanted to give you an update. Those are our running odor complaints through the end of July. As you can see, the trend is continuing to go down, so our odor control system solution that we put in a couple of years ago is working well. Getting a good amount of landfill gas over to the energy facilities, and that's working pretty well. We had a little hiccup the other night. NYSEG had a problem in the substation that kind of kicked everything off the grid, but luckily it was only down for an hour or two, and our backup generator kicked in, and all of our redundancy with our flares and the other investments we made kicked in, so didn't really see any sort of a net in odor complaints above and beyond what we kind of been seeing on the trend of 20 or so a month. So that's working out very well. The guys and girls are doing a great job, and we see that continuing in the future. So our construction that's ongoing, again, we're building cell 6B over here. 6A is the cell we built last year, and then we're topping off and putting in another 52 wells. The drillers are coming in middle of next month. So they'll be drilling a whole bunch of wells up there. You can see, if you drive by, we're pretty high up there. We only got about 3 or 4 more lifts, and then that side, the landfill, will pretty much be tied in, and we'll be grassing that side, getting that all dressed off. And then our fill operations will be moving over here to the west side. So the infrastructure is in place over here. We'll be putting up the litter fence, and we already had the odor control on over there, so should be normal operations as we proceed over that way. So, was following the events this morning, got a few phone calls, willing to help out how we can. We only got 3 inches of rain up here. I say only, but I saw the pictures, and so anything we can help you all out with down at the southern end, I'm sure they're going to be cleaning up and stuff. Feel free to ask. Terrible rain event, and hopefully nobody got hurt, and we can always fix things. That's the big thing, nobody got hurt. So
gonna be a lot of cleanup, so I'm sure we're gonna be able to take you up on your offer there.
Okay,
We'll be contacting you down the road when they schedule some type of pickups.
absolutely. Anything we can do to get it, get it off the ground, get it out and move it as quick as possible, that's the best thing for everybody, so.
Thanks for your help. Is there any questions by the board? No?
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Anybody else like to address the board? Sir, come forward. Please state your name and where you live.
Robert L. McGill Jr., 32 East William Street, Waterloo, New York. I would just like to do a little follow-up to Mr. Black's presentation. Mr. Black is not allowed to tell you how many of those complaints are false complaints, and I happen to know for a fact that some of them still are false complaints and are just for harassment purposes. I just want that as a matter of record.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Approval of the minutes for the July 10th regular board meeting and the July 24th special board meeting.
So moved.
Motion made. Seconded. Any discussion? Supervisor Heisen.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to offer an amendment to the special board meeting resolution that it
Is
was...
this additions or corrections or what?
Yes,
Okay,
because the
yeah,
resolution...
I did group those, so I guess we need to, we should be voting on both these together then. What do you have under additions or corrections?
Okay, the resolution on regarding the PER that we approved, we amended at the board meeting, and I asked Dan what we're amending. He said what I said. Nobody gave us a resolution, so when we voted on it, we didn't have one on our desk. Here's a written resolution I'd like to offer. Whereas resolution number 170-18 approved by the final professional engineering report preferred alternative 3 of centralized treatment at the Willard wastewater treatment plant with method 2 with new conveyance system from Hillside and 5 Points treatment plant. Now therefore be it resolved, the Seneca County Board of Supervisors approved that method 2 is the accepted method for centralized treatment, but method 2 will not include the IDA property known as Hillside. And method 2 will only include the customers that use 5 Points for the sewer treatment. And be it further resolved, the IDA property that uses Hillside treatment plant will be responsible for all costs relating to getting their sewage to sewer 1. All O&M costs related to these conveyances, decommissioning of the Hillside treatment plant, and all costs related to the daily O&M costs of all sewer lines on the IDA property. And be it further resolved that the present sewer 1 customers will only be responsible for their EDU share of debt and treatment of both expanded and renovated sewer plant number 1. That's it. I think Mr. Trout will accept that. That's what we voted on.
Yeah, will you make that a motion to approve Supervisor Heisen's amendment? Any discussion? Be no further discussion? All approval? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, approval of both minutes as amended. Can I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Thank you. Second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried as amended.
Thank you.
Next, reports of standing committees. First, Supervisor McGreevy, Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Health and Human Services Committee met on Tuesday, July 24th. The committee approved several resolutions that are on tonight's agenda. One resolution in particular will appoint a new Director of Veterans Affairs, Susan Smith. The committee approved her appointment unanimously, and I believe the full board will do so also tonight. The Health Department is also preparing for the 2018 annual Household Hazardous Waste Collection event scheduled for this fall. Requests for proposals are being prepared in The application for DEC funding will be submitted after the board adopts the resolution tonight authorizing the application. That's all I have, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ron. Next, Supervisor Davidson, Human Resources and Government Operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Human Resources and Government Operations, in addition to the resolution listed on our agenda tonight, the committee approved filling one position for a licensed clerk in the motor vehicle department. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Lee. Next, Economic Development. Since Supervisor Kaiser is not here, I'll call on the Vice Chair, Supervisor Trout.
Economic Development and Tourism doesn't have anything to report outside the resolutions that are going to follow.
Thank you, that was short and sweet. I think I'll call on you more often. Next, Indian Affairs, Supervisor Heisen, do you have any report?
Not really, except for I sent you a picture of the Kilby Indian Nation police car, so the department is official in their eyes anyway.
As I understand it, they would not have any duties or be official until they're approved by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Is that correct?
I'd say so. But they do have their car, they're driving around, they keep it parked here and there, so they're active down there. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next, Public Safety and Criminal Justice, Supervisor Brunel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Other than the three resolutions on tonight's agenda, the committee approved refiling 3 sheriff's deputies recruit positions and an application for the 2018 Interpol Communication Grant was approved and adopted by the board at a special meeting the same night as the committee meeting.
Thank you, Ernie. Next, Agriculture and Environmental Affairs, Supervisor Kronwetter.
We met last month, didn't have a lot to talk about other than the harmful algae blooms in every lake and the Finger Lakes. But since then, Cindy and I attended a Seneca Watershed Intermunicipal Organization meeting, and they talked about the 9-point plan. And it's very exciting to me. I think it's our best hope to stop the algae blooms in the Finger Lakes. It is in no way anti-farmers. They realize everything is voluntary, but the only way to get funding, to get our fingers on that $65 million of funding, is to have a plan. They have to have a plan. And they've, the Seneca Lake Watershed has organized, where they're going to have a director, and they have the money. Pam Hellman gave a $200,000 grant to incorporate a plan and have a director, which we'll be able to use for all the things. As far as the 9-point plan is to identify and qualify sources of pollution in the watershed, identify water quality target or goal and pollutant reductions needed to achieve the goal, identify the best management practices that will help to achieve reductions, describe the financial and technical assistance needed to implement the best management practices, describe the outreach to stakeholders, estimate a schedule to implement the best management practices, describe the milestones and estimated timeframes for the implementation of the BMPs, identify the criteria that will be used to assess water quality improvement, describe the monitoring plan that will collect water quality data. Now, you can't get any grant money until you have the plan in place. And this is our best chance at it. I'm excited about it. They have the funding in place. They needed to match the $200,000 with a $5,000 match, and they had it in their budget thanks to the $5,000 that several counties donated to their fund. So it's up and running, and I'm sure after we get the plan where we can actually reach out for funding to the state, we can use this plan in all the finger lakes. It's voluntary, you know, to the farmers. It's just, there'd be money available to, you know, have setbacks from the rivers and where, you know, they can identify where the pollution is coming from and best management practices to help lead. And it takes, where this has been implemented, we've shown excellent results, but it takes 10 years. So the sooner we get started, the better. That's all I got.
Very good, thank you, Paul. Any questions on that?
Yeah,
Supervisor Heisen?
we did approve that, right?
Yes.
Then why did the town of Ovid pass a resolution supporting it?
Well, we just approved joining the Seneca Watershed Intermittent Organization. And that is, they've been working with the Finger Lakes Institute of Hobart William Smith College of the Seneca Lake Pure Waters Association on obtaining funding for a 9-element watershed plan, which plan will supplement the 2015 Seneca Lake Watershed Plan with modeling that will identify the quality and source of pollutants and water. So what they want to do is make sure this plan is transferable to Cuba. That's what I'm thinking.
We're bringing them in.
Yeah, right. Tomorrow night, I'm going to the Cuba Lake Watershed annual picnic and bring them up to speed that they should be concentrating, going to these meetings and being part of this plan too.
So I guess my question is, should Fayette, Barrett, Romulus, Colbert?
All the towns, right?
Pass the resolution that Ovid passed?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Or are they being redundant?
I think you're being redundant, but, you know, this Cuba Lake Watershed network incorporates Cuba County and Seneca County, Tompkins County also. At the next committee meeting, no more.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Next, Public Works, Supervisor Troll.
2 items outside the resolutions that are going to follow. There was a talk about addressing concerns regarding temporary closure of county roads, and we're going to write a policy for whoever wins the bid next time that there's going to be some rules as to what we're going to do if they do win the bid. There's a couple bullet points to develop policy for road closing, who to notify towns, villages, first responders, and media. Include language in contracts that would prevent contractors from putting the county job on delay while they do other jobs. Avoid what happened this time, no work activity and roads remain closed, avoid treacherous detours. Just some bullet points of what that is going to read. And then another thing is what we just approved in the minutes for the amendment. I don't have that under Public Works as a resolution anywhere, so bring it up on any new business tonight, or we're going to be knocked off our little numbered process, so I can bring it up under new business.
Okay, it's not in there?
You're talking about the one that Mr.
Yeah, we just did the amendment, so we have the resolution, but it's not numbered in Public Works, so we'll bring it up under new business when it comes up. That's easy to everybody.
Not there, Margaret?
Doesn't say it here. Right, but I don't. Number 17, 18, 19, it's not in order. So I'll bring it up under new business so we don't knock it off. The
Works for me.
number and sequence.
Can I just understand what we're doing here? Because it was my understanding that the motion to amend was a motion to amend the record of a board meeting at which this resolution was passed. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Well, that's correct.
Then why do we have to bring it up
You
again?
don't, probably, unless you want to do it.
I don't think of a reason why you would bring it up again.
I thought we had to bring it up because we amended it, that's all.
No, you did amend it, and you amended it on the record, and it was voted on. So I would I would not say.
And that gets numbered in as a separate number. And that gets numbered as something.
There you go, so it's a done deal.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Again, thank you, Don. Next, Ways and Means, Supervisor Reynolds.
Thank you, Chairman Chipley. The committee approved a resolution to apply for a grant for $50,000 from the Department of Homeland Security. The purpose of this grant is to assist the county with creating the means necessary to prevent disruption or corruption in our information technology system. The deadline to submit this application was August 7th, so the Board of Supervisors had a special meeting the same night and the committee meeting and adopted a resolution. The committee also approved refilling the position for the finance director. The candidate must have a municipal finance experience. The personnel department will screen for applicants. The interview process with the county manager. The board will then interview the candidates as recommended by the county manager. The committee referred one resolution to tonight's agenda to adopt and revise and improved information technology policy. That's it.
Very good, thank you, Mike. Reports of special committees. Supervisor Trout, how about you want to report on your last IDA meeting?
Sure. August 2nd, 2018, IDA convened here at the county office building at 12. Mike Mazzola was present. He was pushing locate Finger Lakes opportunity for businesses and anybody else looking to locate here and why. It was a nice presentation. There's a big outlay online about what this area has to offer. And then the IDA would like to know from the county board if we would want them to develop a pilot for solar arrays that would come up in Seneca County. So they'd be willing to take the lead to develop a pilot program if you're going to have a solar array in your township and give guidelines for that as long as this board is willing.
Because the county opted out.
Yep. And they want to make sure that the opt-out isn't an opt-out because we don't like solar. So, but they are looking for some confirmation that we want them to do that.
All right, well, that should come up under committee to address that then.
Yeah.
And report back to the IDA board that, to move ahead. Supervisor Lorenzetti, Joy Graham.
I did, quick. So Frank, would that not come down to hometown rule of that own town?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Would that not come back to hometown rule if in fact one of the towns wanted to do the solar opportunity, even though the county opted out?
The towns have their own separate
Correct.
way of dealing with it. No, the towns have to opt out on their own.
Correct, and so I guess I'm misunderstanding, John. What's the IDA saying then?
Well,
Bill?
if the towns opt out, then there's been a lot of talk with different developers coming to the IDA saying, hey, you know, we do want to put this in the township and how are you going to tax it? Because you need to develop a policy on how you're going to tax it because we did opt out. So they were talking about a lot of different options on how to tax it fairly, and specifically going by megawatt is what they're considering right now.
And any potential benefits to that particular town.
Yeah.
Also.
There's a couple different examples in some counties that surround us, and they all do it a little bit differently, but some people get some money up front for that town, and then some people just build it into the tax structure, whatever the pilot's going to be.
Thank you.
Not having any tax structure.
Well, that's why you opt out, so you don't get 20 years for free.
Okay, do we have any reports from other special committees? Supervisor Ozero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Just to state that the Community Services Board would like to thank Ralph Lott and Empire Farm Days for allowing the Suicide Prevention Coalition to put a table there and give out information. And I guess it was because a lot of people came up and got information. I couldn't make it down there to that table. I had other duties to do, but Margaret, you want to mention anything about that, what you've heard?
Only that it was very well attended. We brought a lot of information specific to the risk of suicide and depression to farmers. It is an at-risk population, so we really were so thankful to Supervisor Lott for allowing us to table at the event free of charge, and we're very appreciative. And we're doing an Out of the Darkness suicide prevention and awareness walk in October at Sampson State Park. We had 5 or 6 people sign up to volunteer for the walk, and lots of people, were really interested in the materials. So I think it was very successful. We're very thankful.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Greg. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Are there any other reports of special committees? Okay, next item, Chairman's remarks. I do have a couple brief remarks tonight. Today has been a challenging day, especially in southern Seneca County and the towns of Lodi, Ovid, and Culver. Tonight we pause to thank the many Seneca County workers, Sheriff's Department and local law enforcement, first responders, New York State and town highway departments, and the other resource groups throughout the region who responded quickly today to perform rescues, evacuations, and set up shelters for the many affected citizens of our county. Also, we appreciate the timely phone calls from Assemblyman Phil Comanzano and Chris Zeltman of Senator Schumer's office to offer assistance to Seneca County. I also want to recognize Governor Cuomo's staff, especially Jessica and Kaylee, who started calling before 7 a.m. this morning to offer state assistance and coordinate a timely visit to the affected areas of Seneca and Broome counties by Governor Cuomo early this morning, so he could personally determine our needs and his issuance of a New York State of emergency, which includes National Guard deployment, along with support vehicles and flood response equipment to our area. We will continue to monitor the situation, repair and reopen roads, bridges, and culverts damaged by this event as soon as possible. Most important, considering the severity of this extreme weather event, we are most grateful that Seneca County did not have any loss of life. Thank you. There will not be any county manager's remarks tonight. John is still down in the Emergency Operation Center. So next I'll go to the county attorney.
Nothing specific tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Frank. Margaret, communications.
Communications 126 through 136 have been received and filed, so thank you.
Okay. Resolutions and motions. Number 14, Supervisor Reynolds.
Thank you, Chairman Shibley. Supervise adoption of a new information technology policy.
Support. Motion made and supported. Are there any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 15, Supervisor Trout.
Supervisors approve Public Works Commissioner to send out requests for proposal for pickup of recyclable materials.
Support.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? This was discussed pretty well in committee. Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 16, Supervisor Trout.
Finance Department authorized to amend 2018 Seneca County Highway budget for increase in CHIP funding.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 17, Supervisor Trout.
Supervisors authorize county manager to sign an extension of term lease agreement to American Red Cross.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 18, Supervisor Brunel.
Board of Supervisors eliminates positions of a part-time first assistant public defender and a part-time second assistant public defender and authorizes the creation of 2 full-time assistant public defenders.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 19, Supervisor Brunel.
Board of Supervisors eliminates the position of part-time assistant district attorney and authorizes the creation of a full-time assistant district attorney.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Again, this was fairly discussed in committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 20, Supervisor Brunel.
Extension of the mutual lengthy moratorium of agreement with the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 21, Supervisor Trout.
Supervisors approve application of land bank community revitalization initiative sponsored by Enterprise Community Partners, Inc., in support of Finger Lake Regional Land Bank.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 22,
Award bid and authorize additional funding for design and construction of hangar space at Finger Lake Regional Airport.
Support.
motion made and seconded. Any discussion here? Supervisor Lott.
I have beat this horse before, I'm going to beat it once more before we do it. I don't like the fact that we're being held hostage on this for $75,000 and we'll lose if we don't continue this project. I think we should make some changes the way engineers bid these projects. I would like to see us have the entire project bid at one time so we aren't piecemeal and we get ourselves in trouble. I would also like to see engineers should have some, quote, skin in the game. If the amounts of the estimates come in above, they take a pay cut. If the estimates come in below, they should get some sort of bonus. I just feel that, you know, they can grab $100,000 out of the sky. Have they researched it? Do they really know what they're talking about? And if they don't, they should have to pay for it. If they do know what they're doing, they should get a bonus.
Is that
Good, that makes them accountable.
Is that a motion to the, an addendum to this motion instead of just?
I would like to do that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. You're gonna have to dictate your particular amendment so that Margaret can,
I've got it written.
you have it written? Oh, that's great.
That is my point. You know, this contract, we're up to vote for tonight. My amendment wouldn't be part of that. This is for the future.
Future ones.
You want to put it in this resolution?
Yeah, why not? Then we're all voting on it.
It's not gonna apply.
Not for this one.
Of course not.
Oh,
So why
for
include it
future.
in something that it can't apply for?
He can say for future.
Well, you know, we can bring that through committee again.
And that's fine.
Bring it on the next meeting.
Sure.
Whatever the correct way of doing it would be.
Yeah, that would be the
Is that
more
what you
sensible.
recommend, Frank?
It would be the preferable method of dealing with it procedurally. I mean, technically, the motion to amend is out of order because it doesn't relate to the specific resolution that's being presented.
Okay, so it goes through committee then.
But Margaret, you may want to hold on to that so that
I
it,
took a picture of it.
okay, very good. Is there any other discussion on this motion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. That was 22. Number 23, Supervisor Trout.
Approve amended contract with Barton to do this for Route 318 sanitary sewer project.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on this? I think this is, again, some more housekeeping on this particular project. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 24, Supervisor Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors eliminates position of full-time paralegal and creates and authorizes filling of 2 part-time paralegal positions in the county law department.
Support.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 25.
Thank you. Supervisors authorize placement of personnel technician grade 4, step 3 of management salary schedule.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on this? Being no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? That's passed. Number 26, Supervisor Davidson.
Supervisors reclassify payroll system specialist to payroll system technician effective immediately.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Number 27, Supervisor Davidson.
Sir, supervisors authorize and direct the county manager to sign contract for retainer agreement with Gomer, Wallen, Gold, and the other fellow.
I'll support that.
Motion made and seconded. Kathy, I'd say we use that resource an awful lot over the past few years. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's passed. Number 28, Supervisor McGreevy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. County manager authorized and directed to sign a 1-year extension contract with the Office of Victim Services.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 29, Supervisor McGreevy.
Number 29, clerk of the board to advertise for OFA public hearings.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion here? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 30, Supervisor McGreevy.
The Board of Supervisors authorizes and directs county manager to sign a contract with DEC for financial assistance for household hazardous waste collection day.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 31.
The county manager authorized and directed to sign a contract renewal for the transportation services for the early intervention and 3 to 5 program.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion here? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 32, Supervisor McGreevy, you're getting your, a lot of time tonight.
Thank you, sir. Number 32, amend 2018 public health budget to accept increased performance improvement grant revenue.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Number 33. Ron, you're on a roll.
Number 33, Supervisors appoint Susan Smith, Director of Veteran Service Agency.
Support. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Point of order. Yes, she is. Susan Smith here tonight.
Susan, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next, number 34.
Number 34, Board of Supervisors approve the appointment of Finger Lakes Workforce Investment Board member.
Support.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion here? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay, moving on, new business. Chairman. Supervisor Heisen.
Since Mr. Kaiser isn't here this evening, we required a 2/3 majority, but we worked out the language for the tourism promotion expenditure for the dog show, the Wine Country Circuit, so I have a motion here.
Okay, first you need to offer a motion for a Rule 29.
I'll explain it first.
Very good.
I can explain it, so I make that motion for Rule 29.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor of the Rule 29 motion? Opposed? Okay, move ahead, Supervisor Heisen.
Board of Supervisors authorizes tourism promotional expenditure.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there a amount on this?
5,000.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hidden pretty well.
First we
Oh, it's
go.
spelled out. Okay.
Sorry, we go.
Any other discussion?
I would like to clarify for the Spring Lake Times, that in the last article, they said, I mentioned that we had offered this dog show $20,000 about 4 years ago, and we worked and worked, and we got it down so they didn't need a penny. They didn't take the $20,000, they never asked for it. So just- Dave needed a way to correct it, so I don't know if he's gonna correct it or not, but they never took the money. This is the first money we've ever given them. But they did call me this week, wondering where it was over the weekend. That's why I got with Frank to make sure that we had the language done right so we could get them money.
Very good. Thank you for taking that initiative.
And they said whoopee when I told them that they're gonna get it. They were excited.
That's great.
Thank you, Frank, for getting it done.
Is there any other discussions? Supervisor Davidson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to enter executive session.
Wait a minute, Lee. This is, we haven't voted on this yet. We're still on the subject of the motion for the tourism promotion expenditure.
Sorry about that.
Being no other discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's passed. Okay, now Supervisor Davidson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, I move that the board enter executive session under section 105(1)(b) of the Public Officers Law in order to discuss collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, and that the board invited into the executive session the following persons: the county manager, the county attorney, and the county personnel officer.
Second.
Did you have something?
I was just going to mention, could we also have the assistant county attorney attend as well if
Absolutely.
Yes, it's good.
Absolutely amended as such.
Sir, I missed your second. I missed you. I missed you. gave it to second.
Okay? You're good now? Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the executive session motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this board, we will move into executive session